Hey, what's going on? Miguel, host of Life Full Circle Radio. We over here doing our little social media thing. The Diddy trial. After 7 weeks, it is now over. And we'll talk about the different results from that Diddy trial. We'll figure that out and kind of where you think we're going from there. All that I feel is a big distraction because what is going on right now in the Senate as they are debating the big beautiful bill and how that's going to hurt many people and help a lot of rich people be richer. So there's that. We're going to talk about Medicaid, which is a part of that, and how that's going to change. I got a surprise on how well. At least I was told it's a surprise on how well. We'll get to that, and then we're going to talk about why people hate politicians. So there's my little list. The Diddy verdict is in. Trump big beautiful bill. Why do people hate politicians? Medicare change. What are we watching? Make sure you follow us on social media. And I was just talking to Kia before we came on. I'm pretty active now. I'm getting active on Threads. Threads is really starting to pick up a little bit, and I'm about to get her on it. It's going to be on and popping because that's where we're getting some traction. Super producer.
What's up? Happy Wednesday, not happy Monday.
It is Wednesday. Yeah. So why is it Wednesday? And we just started. So this past Monday, I was coming off of a 4-day trip. We and the family were in Knoxville, Tennessee for basketball, and I got back Sunday, and Monday was my birthday, and I didn't feel like doing nothing. And so I laid around, and for the 15th year in a row, Kia didn't remember that it was my birthday.
But yeah. He's not exaggerating. Every year I have a regular conversation with this man, like nothing happened, and he doesn't say anything to correct me until I go on Facebook, and Facebook goes, "It's his birthday." And I'm like, that sucks. So there's that.
You know, it's funny. I was at a meeting yesterday, and the people came and they said, "You're not going to tell us yesterday was your birthday?" I'm like, no. Why am I going to do that? It's whatever.
I think you've reached the age where the birthday thing, it's cute and all, but it's not a big deal. Like, I just turned 40, and now I'm kind of like, when my birthday comes up in the future years, I'm like, that's fine. I don't care. It's not.
Yeah, it's all, it is what it is, man. The big ones, I had a really nice 50th birthday party. It was really good. Thanks to my wife. And you were there. And so it was pretty dope. But the 50th was cool. But, and I don't get me wrong. I appreciate God for keeping me on this earth another year. And for my kids and watching them grow. So other than that, I'm good. All right, let's jump into the stories of the day.
Wait, before we get in, I have to say thank you so much to everyone at Delta Airlines. I know you don't listen to our podcast, but thank you so much for treating Devin. Devin went on his first solo airplane trip. By solo, I mean we took him to the gate and he got on the plane by himself, and we just had to watch the plane fly away with our child. And yesterday, he was supposed to fly out yesterday.
Where'd he go?
Huh?
Where'd he go?
New York.
Okay.
New York.
Okay.
Yeah. Yesterday, he was actually supposed to fly out. So Omar took him to the airport. And Omar was like, no, I'm just going to sit here and wait. He'll be on the plane. I'll just wait till the plane takes off. He's so nervous. The gate agents are now checking on him. Not even checking on Devin on the plane anymore. They're just checking on Omar to make sure he's fine. And the flight ends up being canceled. So they had to bring him all the way back home. And then he flew out today. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I was like, oh, come on, man. No, the weather's been crazy. I don't know if folks been paying attention because Trey was actually, when we were in Knoxville, she had to go to DC because one of her best friends was retiring from the military, and they had a ceremony at Pentagon. And so she flew in, and then she had a hell of a time getting back to Knoxville. So anyway, but y'all don't care about that. Y'all care about what we got on, what we ready to talk about, and we got to be like, let's go. All right, so the Diddy trial is in. So we're go ahead. Let's talk about the Diddy trial because I know that's what you've been watching. I have not watched much of this stuff at all.
So it's hard to watch it since it's not actually being aired because federal trials are not streamed or aired or anything like that. So you have to go off accounts of people who have actually been in the courtroom. So there's been a lot of YouTubers and news people who have been in the courtroom, and they've been reporting back, which is helpful and also bad at the same time because outside of the courthouse has been a complete show. So I'm kind of glad this trial is over. But the jurors reached a final verdict. The Sean Diddy Combs federal sex trafficking trial today. The rapper was acquitted of the most serious charges against him, including racketeering and sex trafficking. That could have landed him life in prison. He was found guilty only of transportation to engage in prostitution. He was denied bail in order to remain behind bars until his sentencing. This had agreed to a They had agreed to a verdict on 4 of the 5 charges Tuesday against the disgraced hip hop mogul, but told the judge that they couldn't come to a consensus on the top charges of racketeering conspiracy. So here's you go ahead first, and then I'll bring up the rear after this. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's like I said, I didn't really pay much that close of attention to this trial, and I'll tell you why. Um, God, you don't want to meet your heroes, and I'm not gonna sit up here and say like I was like a pom pom cheer for Diddy, but Diddy for people like us in our early 50s, Diddy and Bad Boy like ran like 10,
Ran
15
everything
summers in a row. I'm talking
from 1990 to 2006.
just whatever. It was everybody from Uptown Records rolling into to being around Heavy D and Jodeci and Mary J. Blige and Biggie and Total and you just run it down, even coming into doing he was a party guy. He was the ultimate party guy. But I was not surprised at all as this was coming down that this was the dude that he was. Now, mind you, we go back to the whole East Coast, West Coast thing. Everybody really thought the baddest dude in that conversation was Suge Knight. Everybody was like, yeah, man, Suge Knight is okay, Andre. So everybody thought that the baddest dude in the room was Suge Knight. Everybody was like, okay, Suge Knight had something to do with Biggie did. Somebody had something to do with Tupac did. And as all this stuff started to come out, and we start putting two and two together, he was like, Puffy is kind of a rotten dude. He's kind of a rotten dude. And so fast forward, all this stuff that's happening, the whatever freak offs and what he did to Cassie and all of this type of stuff. You just like, man, this is really, really disgusting. And so, but I'm not surprised about what the results have been in this situation. I didn't think they were gonna get the RICO on him. So that came out pretty much how I expected. Um, and then the whole thing with the prostitution piece. So here's what I think is gonna happen. Now I was surprised that he did not make bail today. I thought he was gonna make bail. And I almost felt like if he made bail, it would have been almost a situation where for the prosecution and for the sentencing hearing, I don't think he'd have gone home and acted and would have not acted a fool, which would have hurt his sentencing. So quietly, it might be a benefit to him that he did not make bail.
So he wasn't going to make bail because there is no. I don't think there's ever been bail on federal charges. So
Yeah, no,
even
it wouldn't even been a conversation if it wasn't. Yeah.
yeah, so it's federal charges. So he still get convicted on federal charges of prostitution, transporting
So to
prostitutes,
remind you of a
prostitution.
conversation that we talked about this before the show. So there was a conversation when he's been locked up since May of last year, May of 2024,
Yes. Hmm.
is when he first went to jail. And before that, I had a conversation with an entertainment attorney who knows this community. And so I said to her, they start talking about it being all about trafficking and what that looks like. I was like, man, if you flying out women is considered, and in this case, we didn't know what the case, flying out women or men is considered trafficking and prostitution, then there's a whole lot of football players and entertainers, and they got
It
to
is
be careful.
different.
And she said to me, no, don't get me wrong. She said to me, now, mind you, I'm going to finish this up. She said to me at that point, Diddy's situation is much bigger than that. I said, okay. And at that moment, because I know what she does and who she is, I said, okay, I'm going to wait. And not long after that, within 60 days, this was the situation with Diddy. I understand you feel like it's different. And it probably is. But I also understand with this Fed that's in this administration's Fed that's in here right now, it's an easy way to open up conversation on getting people in the system. Because my God, if you're a ball player and you say you want to fly out 2, 3 girls, you from Houston and you play for Seattle, and you say you're gonna fly them out to come party, and then y'all get engaged and blah blah blah, and then who knows? But go ahead. I know you got a counter argument. Go ahead.
I got a kind of argument because as someone who's been flued out, I was pretty back in the day. and I've been flown out, and I know that there are people who will fly you out, but they're not flying you out with the intent of having sex with you. He was flying these people out with a clear intent. You're going for this purpose, and we're gonna hire more prostitutes when we get there, and we hire more prostitutes. You're gonna have sex with these prostitutes, and then I'm gonna fly you back. And here's the $15,000 to pay you for this. I'm flying you here for this specific purpose. With a lot
Mm-hmm.
of athletes, actors, celebrity men who fly out girls, their main intent is not to have sex. Because if they're not feeling the girl is ugly, or they're not feeling it, they won't have sex. So just find
So
a better girl to
celebrities are
have.
flying out girls just to hang out with them because they nice.
No, 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 no. So I have been flown out.
Go ahead.
This is so bad. I have been flown out, and
Mm-hmm.
the person that flew me out decided that I was, this is so awful, I was too goofy, and that he didn't want to whatever, because I'm goofy, and he was like, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
really feeling this. So we were cool, dapped it up. He flew me back and everything, but nothing happened. He ended up being with somebody else in the club. I was like, cool, whatever. I got flown out. I'm in this cool club. It's really fun. I'm dressed pretty, whatever. And my happy butt got flown right back to Florida.
As a
So
dude who hung out with some dudes who used to like to fly people around, they ain't flying them around and sending them home just because they goofy. They'll
was that
deal with the
goofy and
goofiness on the
ugly?
back end, huh?
Was that goofy and ugly?
here's here's the thing. Now this was before social media, so it's a little bit easier to go. Here's the thing, man,
But
and we're
again,
making
outside
light
of
of it because that's
being
what we do.
goofy,
We
that's
make
what
a
I'm
light of
saying.
this, but if when I was in my 20s, some of the people I would hang out with, when I saw that stuff coming, I'm like, okay, all right, bruh, nah, yeah, y'all about
I
to get
gotta
into
go.
some, yeah, y'all go that way, I'm going this way because I already know what's about to get down. So my point is that this is not an uncommon practice, but
All
that's
right.
beyond that. When you start getting into all the nonsense, and you watch the trial, or you read about the trial. I was not reading
A
about this
lot.
stuff. I was not paying. I determined, and here's the argument that a lot of people are making is that Diddy was just a freak, and that's the reason why this shouldn't be as big as it is. And I totally disagree,
And
especially with the
I'm with
domestic
you. I
violence and
disagree
piece like that.
too.
Go ahead.
And the reason why I disagree, let's take all the sex stuff out of it. Let's just erase all the sex stuff. Let's
Hmm.
talk about the fact that you are having your employees cover up crimes. That's why I'm
Hmm.
surprised they could not agree on the RICO or the racketeering. It
Hmm.
absolutely is racketeering and conspiracy on the count one, because you have bodyguards who are texting Cassie and letting her know, hey, I know he beat the crap out of you and your face is swollen, but
Hmm.
it's been 2 hours and we got to bring you up ice to ice your face. So you knew that he committed a crime by attacking this girl,
Hmm.
but you're helping him cover it up. You have other assistants who are moving Cassie to different places. You have other assistants who are buying drugs, moving drugs, doing things for you that also testified. You have other employees who have watched you. The one assistant who was terrified of him, who watched him who was in the truck right after they set fire to Kid Cudi's car, and Kid Cudi testified. Like,
Hmm.
what were they looking for with the racketeering conspiracy? What more were they looking
I'm
for?
not sure because I know that racketeering was originally something that was created for mob bosses, right? That was the premise of that and what they were trying to take down. I just don't believe that people respect sex workers at that in that level, and
I
I,
would
and I
agree
really
on
think I think that's what that really boils down to. A lot of folks think it's all
that.
about decisions and choices that people make, and because of that, they weren't willing to put him in jail for life for being involved in what he was involved with. That's just me
Does this
and my
mean
opinion on it.
does this mean that we have gotten to a point in 2025? And I hate to agree with Candace Owens, but thanks to the feminist movement and the
Hmm.
sexual revolution that women presented, that we
Hmm.
are now desensitized to the sexual part of this, and now it's just a funny, groupie thing to where we can just say, "Oh, he's just freaky. That's no big deal. He's
Oh,
just freaky." Like,
we're absolutely desensitized. There are people outside of this that were pouring baby oil on each other outside of the courtroom of this trial. And I'm sitting back and said, we are we that nutty of a society to this point that we need that much attention that this is what folks are doing? And the answer is yes, yeah,
You
actually
wanna see
we
the
are.
video? 'Cause I got the video queued up.
Good. Go ahead. You got your screen. Let me share your screen. So,
Alright,
I just I don't see your screen. Share your screen.
I'm sharing it
So
now.
I look at this thing and I say to myself, like, where are we? Where are we as a society where this is what we're doing?
So
Right?
here
These people, this is complete debauchery. And I look at this stuff and I say to myself, man, you not embarrassed? Y'all not embarrassed by this nonsense, bro?
and here's what makes this video even more concerning. That is Armand Wiggins. Armand Wiggins isn't
Who
just
is
some
Armand
crazy.
Wiggins? The guy with no shirt on?
The guy with no shirt on is Armand Wiggins. He was actually a host on Fox Soul, had a contract with Fox Soul. He's not some nobody person. He had a real job. He's had a real job on multiple platforms as producers. He's worked with celebrities. And now he's a YouTuber because YouTube's honestly the best place to make a quick buck or whatever. But he's on YouTube. You have now debased yourself, at least in my opinion, where you're outside of this trial putting baby oil on. Whether you agree with Diddy or you don't, this is the bridge too far for any. It should be. But again, like we
These
talked about,
people do not care. This is Armand Wiggins, so I don't know much or nothing. I don't know nothing about this guy. They say he's approximately 35 years old. These people, especially when you are in the business of attention, and you got a lot of folks that are in the attention business, and when they get to the point they're in the attention business, stuff is not supposed to make sense. They just sit up there and say, "Here I am, somebody I've never heard of this guy before in my life, and here I am posting and pulling stuff up about him," and that's the intention. But when you look at what we have here, so when we pull back up the charges, not guilty on racketeering, not guilty on sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion.
which
Uh,
that
gu-
oh come on, not by force, fraud, or coercion. That again, I'm loud because that boggles my mind.
mhm.
We watched him beat the crap out of that girl. We watched multiple people testify that Cassie was forced to do these things. We listened to two John Does say, I was forced to do
Mhm.
these things. I didn't want to, but I had to. I had no choice. So how was that not force, fraud, and coercion?
You don't get an argument from me. I just look at that thing and say, when we start talking about, like you said, sex trafficking, force, fraud, and coercion, um, folks, we are in a male dominant society that says if you got money and power, look who our president is.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I mean? It's like, we're in a situation where this man, one of the most misogynistic, does not care, has made inappropriate comments about his own child, and we think they're not going to let Diddy off. Because here's the thing: I'm not above thinking that when it's all said and done, he was prepared. Trump was prepared to get engaged with this process. What other better way to get black people and people who love pop culture to support him than to let somebody as big and as influential as Diddy off?
but then also Trump would be turning off his own base by doing this. Because at the end of the day, white people don't like black people, and they damn sure don't like nothing to do with this trial. We have not seen one white person. Have you seen one white
You
person?
might
Well,
be.
you ain't watching nothing, so it's
Yeah, I
different.
ain't
But I'm just
watching that
saying,
crap.
I haven't seen one white person go, well, you know what? Diddy didn't do anything. Diddy's fine. I haven't heard one white person say that. So for white people, if he pardons Diddy, that again is another. He's already got multiple bridges too far. Would you like to
Yeah.
hop into the next story about the big beautiful bill?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. We're going there next, and so let's wrap. Put a bow on this. The bottom line is, he'll be incarcerated until he's sentenced.
October.
And I really believe when it's all said and done, they're definitely going to count time served in this. There's enough checks that's being cut, and so that's going to be part of what's going to get us to that point. So, all right.
In my opinion, best case scenario, he ends up getting 5 years, a year time served. They give him 4. He ends up doing another year. He gets out on house arrest.
So when you
We're
say
done.
best case scenario, you saying best case for the defense or the prosecution?
Best case scenario for Diddy would be he ends up getting 5 years, 1 year, 18 months. He's already certain. Well,
He
Yeah,
ain't going
18
to
months
jail
he's
for
already
5 years.
served.
He ain't going to jail for 5 years.
Will you let me finish?
Go ahead.
5 years was going to be on the record.
Okay.
18 months is already time served. He'll maybe do another year inside, and they'll be like, okay, the rest you can serve on house arrest. That would be the best case scenario, worst case scenario for the prosecution, best case scenario for Diddy. They could give him more. I think the max for those charges are 10 years. I don't think he's gonna get 10 years.
No, he's not going to get 10 years. I don't. If they give him 10 years, I will be very, very surprised.
But 10
if
years
you,
ends up being 3. So
yeah, I don't. I'm with you. I think the 14 months will count towards whatever he does. I don't think he'll spend another 6 or 8 months in jail. And that includes whatever time you said the sentencing is going to take. Do you know how long? What did they say? How long is it going to take for the sentencing?
they're scheduling the sentencing for October, last I heard. But of course, the defense is
That's a
trying to
long
move
time.
that up. They wanted in August
Hmm.
to do the sentencing, which I don't understand why it's pushed to October. Maybe I misread that, but it sounded like they were trying to do the sentencing in October, and it could be because federal trials and all that paperwork and stuff they
All
have to
that
do.
paperwork and stuff. There are people who without money who when you think about and I can't think of his name right now, the young man who committed suicide in New York for stealing the backpack, and he had never even been charged and spent 3 years in Rikers Island. So just depending on your money and depends on the process, it's crazy. So all right, big beautiful bill. I'm gonna so for folks who are not paying attention, because I really believe this is part of the distraction process, right? Because there's something much more important that's going on right now, and that is this bill that is who from Donald Trump and the Republicans. They went through the process of getting it through the House. It went through the Senate. The Senate made some provisions and sent it back to the House, which is now debating it. But the simple fact that you're looking at Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP benefits, a lot of things which are being taken away, which they've been fighting to do for many, many years, is in this bill. And most people are paying more attention to the Diddy trial than they are to this.
Yeah, and it's 887 pages. And it's a collection of tax breaks and spending cuts and other Republican priorities, including new money for national defense and deportations. The bill does not eliminate taxes or Social Security benefits, despite what Trump says. And you can read the bill for yourself. So it's just a lot, and it is rubbing a lot of Republicans the wrong way. We've got Senator, I think it's Senator Murkowski, who tried to do some backdoor deal where nothing would apply to her constituents, but apply to everybody else, and that's how she would vote on it.
That's
And people
correct.
are calling her out on it, rightfully so. Like, bitch, are you insane? Like, you can't do that.
I try to take care of Alaska's interests, but I know that in many parts of the country, there are Americans that are not going to be advantaged by this bill.
And that is why people hate politics and politicians. That is Lisa Murkowski after she voted for Trump's horrible bill. Even though she admits that she knows it's bad, she knows that people are going to suffer because of it. But because she was able to exempt the population of Alaska, which is just 0.2% of the whole U.S. population, from some of the disastrous effects of this bill, she was willing to go along with it. She was willing to let everybody else suffer. This is why people hate politicians.
Do I like
Charles
this bill?
Blow.
No. Because
And so, sorry for interrupting, but she was great to talk, and I ain't with like rewinding. So, Lisa Murkowski, as you mentioned, she's a senator or congressman, I don't know if it's senator or Congress from Alaska. And because Trump and his people, they say, okay, well, we won't it won't affect you in Alaska. It won't affect your people in Alaska. And so that's why she voted on it and came out there on TV to say, oh, I know this is bad for a lot of other people, but I got to take care of my own. This is crazy. It's crazy, and it really shows us how tenuous our relationship has been with government this whole time. The fact that a lot of this is not as crazy as it could be because people just made moral decisions based on the laws aren't enough. The stuff on the books is not enough. Everybody gets a vote, and the way that these people vote, they've showed us over the course of the last 6 months that the moral majority is no more. It's not.
It it's all very disheartening because it shows how you vote for your politician, And I think another topic that we have, I'm sorry if I missed something. My boss was emailing me and I was responding really quick, but it's always interesting to me that people vote for their senator, their representative, and then they end up getting tossed into this bucket of I only want to listen to this person. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm only going to listen to this leader ahead of me, even though it hurts your constituents. A lot of rural people, a lot of rural Republican voters are going to be hurt by this bill, and it seems not to matter. Like
Because part of it is
again,
that part of it is that it's a plan, right? A lot of this stuff will not take fully into effect for the next 5 years, and so because people have the attention span of a fruit fly, when this stuff really starts hurting people in the next 5 years, and if the Democrats are in control, these nut jobs are going to blame Democrats. It's like, think about the whole tax situation. Trump's tax bill has not expired yet. So a lot of issues you have
yeah,
in taxes was put in place in 2017 under Trump's last administration. But he tells y'all that it's the Democrats' fault. It was Biden over the last 4 years, and it's a lie. And so I don't know, Kia. It's we are at a crossroads, and I'm just trying to figure out whether you're an entrepreneur, business owner, whether you are an employee, whether
and
you,
here's the
huh?
weirdest part about it.
Yeah,
The Miguels, the Kias of the world, the Lisa, my friend, my neighbors across the street, we're not affected by this stuff. We're not.
not yet.
Who gets affected are not yet, of course, are the people who are underneath us, or the people like my son, who is special needs, adult, who relies on Medicaid. He is affected by this. But like the everyday person is going to be like, oh, that's no big deal. Oh, that's fine. Oh, they always the same line of people are abusing Medicaid. Not everybody abuses Medicaid. And you can't
No.
throw the baby out with the bathwater. I hate to use an old black saying, but you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater because, you have 1 million people who are on Medicaid, 1 million people, illegal immigrants are on Medicaid, which I still feel like that number is not true. Or because people are abusing it or whatever, you can't just get rid of it. Um, Even outside of that, the big beautiful bill, it's got a lot of fluff in it that even Republicans don't agree with. I
Right.
mean, there's contingencies in here for COVID vaccines, and there's other really random stuff in here that a lot of Republicans. Yes, you can. Hold on, everybody.
So
Oh
as
no,
kid,
she's fine. Just let her open the door and do it real quick.
hold on, hold on. All right. So let me know when you're ready, kid. So as we do on these shows with our children, not far, my dog, I got him locked upstairs, so he can't cause any problems. But to Kia's point, her son being a special needs adult, those are he wasn't that was God's choice for him, and so he still needs to be taken care of. We're supposed to be taking care of the least of us, and that's part of our call. That's a part of our responsibility. These folks don't care about that. They just do not care. I was listening to the news before I came in, and I'm not going to sit here and act like Democrats may not be pumping it up a little bit or swaying a little bit. But when you hear rural counties or rural hospitals, if someone has a tragic situation, that it'll be a $30,000 bill for someone to fly in a helicopter if they have to get to you know a hospital because the situation is tragic. Who's got money for $30,000 for? I went to the dentist. I went to the dentist about a month ago, and what used to be $125 cleaning, without insurance, it was over $400 just for a cleaning. I said, when did dental cleanings get to $400? And so the part that a lot of people don't understand is that as it's money in, money out. And if you get to the point that the Medicaids and the Medicares and the subsidies that are out there are not putting money into the pot, this is the part people don't understand. Those doctors still have to pay their bills. They still have to pay for their employees. So instead of the money being subsidized, if they got a pot of $1 million coming in, and because the subsidies are gone, they only getting 600,000 now. They still trying to get back to that million. So in order to get back to that million, somebody got to pay for that. Who's going to pay for that? Folks like
Yeah.
me and Kia and other folks who supposedly don't need it, But when it's all said and done, it's going to make us poorer because these services need to be paid for. Everything is going to go up. A restaurant has to pay more to have insurance for their employees and insurance for their buildings and things because the subsidies are gone. Everything's going to go up.
The other thing that I think that needs to get pointed out is the fact that one of the most common things that happens at least, 100 times a day in the US that is also very expensive, and that's giving birth. And there's a lot of women who are on Medicaid who are rural, low-income women or give birth to multiples or give birth to special needs kids or whatever. That's covered by Medicaid, and those things are expensive. And if that gets ripped away, who is covering that cost? The average birth for a single baby on the cheap side is running you about $20,000.
Yeah.
Who's like, forget a helicopter if you've got a serious injury. Let's just talk about you popping a baby out. It's expensive.
Hey, shout out to the finessers out here. A few finessers have checked in. DJ Finesse, Jay Finesse will be spinning at 9:00, and his community is dope. And so, if you're a finesser, give us a thumbs up or drop a comment there, and I may jump in there with you guys in about 20 minutes to see what Finesse is spinning on tonight. But yeah, it's crazy what is going on in this space. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't. Hopefully, right now that we've said this. Black folks saying right now we sitting out of this thing. Black folks with all these protests that are going on all over the place, and you're not seeing a bunch of black faces in this stuff. And because, we didn't vote, folks didn't vote alongside of us. We voting for people that y'all don't even want to vote for, and now you want to come back. It's crazy. Matter of fact, I saw something else that came up recently where the question was this nonsense. And they talking about where is Barack Obama? The audacity of hope presidency is giving way to fierce lethargy and semi-retirement. So right now, for some reason, the liberals and progressives, they want Obama to come out here and put his neck back out there in the line. For what? Why is Barack Obama going to go out there after spending 8 years in the White House, his family being threatened, his wife always being disrespected? He's been out there on the trail with every campaign. He tried to keep Trump out of office the first time, didn't work. He kept him out the second time. He went out there campaigning again, trying to get Kamala Harris. And you think Barack Obama's supposed to be the one that's going to get out here? Why?
No,
Why?
There's no benefit for him, honestly. And all that is setting himself up to draw himself back into the limelight for this. And people now, well, why are you getting involved? Why are you talking about this? Well, it's your fault and this and blah. Like, why would he drag himself back into it? Michelle just started being cool with him again, and they're not getting divorced like a year ago. He's not trying to do that again.
No, why he's done? You ain't asking George Bush, who is a Republican, and it's the Republicans that are effing all this up. Go get him up off the couch. Barack Obama's like, man, I'm out here hooping. I'm going on some podcasts. They got their own production company. They out here putting out content. Barack Obama says, I'll see you when I think it's worth my time to come back out there. But I'm not coming back out there right now. For what? It's crazy. It's crazy. And so, but they expect us to always put our bodies on the line, no matter the level. And Barack Obama says, them days is done. And right now, there's no benefit for Barack Obama to be out, especially in where we are right now, where you've got people that are out here really crazy. I was at crazy thing here at the game last weekend. Last weekend we were in Knoxville, Tennessee, and there were hundreds of basketball teams that were there. So there's people there from all over the country, some all over the world. I think there was a team from Canada and some others. So it was tons and tons of teams that were there. And I started talking to this older white gentleman, and we're talking basketball, and that's what we're talking basketball, and then he just out the blue, he just makes a remark to me about, well, what political affiliation that I align with, right? I said, you know what, I could probably guess. And then he started talking about, yeah, you're a senator, you're a congresswoman out there, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, I said, I'm over here talking basketball. I have no desire to talk to you about politics because the conversation gonna go a different way that I don't need it to go. But they're at the point now, like, and it's so crazy. They come to you just like, you're gonna make me talk about something I want to talk about. No, I hit him with the peace, two fingers, and I was out. because I knew where the conversation was going, and you got the right one. You want to start that conversation with me? You think I'm just out here coaching basketball? You got the right one. But I said, nah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna give you the pleasure. I'm not gonna give you the pleasure. Well, they got you over there working. Look at you. I can tell.
I'm annoyed. Like I'm not even gonna go into what I'm annoyed about because it's completely unimportant. But I'm annoyed. Like whatever. Let me see if I can just remove all. Can I just close this out so it will stop? Yeah, there we go.
All right.
All right. What is our next topic? Because now I am focused. What is our next topic?
All right. No, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna tell you what our next topic is. This is our next topic.
Oh,
You supposed to got some big old
I can have my moment. Let me pull it up. I have to pull it up. I think I can pull it up this way.
So for those just tuning in for the first time, this is a segment of our show where we talk about stories that'll make you go, huh, what? Did that really happen? Yes, it really happened. And we can pull it up from these internet streets and show you that it really happened. And so Kia's got a special hum what today. She has not even told me what it's about. It's supposed to be her father found this hum what, which means that it's got to be special. So
give me one second, because I want to pull up the actual video of the interview of the cops and this guy. It is crazy. Do I have it? I have it.
Am I going to your screen?
Go ahead and share your pull my screen.
On my screen, your screen. All right, here you go. Kid, what you got? What is it?
How do I turn the volume up on? Okay, there we go.
Turn your volume up on your computer. What is going on?
Can you hear the audio?
No. If not, drop it in the chat and I'll pull it up. Okay,
cool. I'll drop it in the chat. Okay, so while I'm dropping this chat, this is a very interesting story where a gentleman who is a landscaper, it's a good idea to throw a graduation bash for his son at a client's house. Mind you, this man is just a landscaper. He's not like anything important in these people's home, and he threw a large party. 300 people showed up, 300 teenagers showed up, and he thinks that he did nothing wrong. Go ahead and play that.
Talk about. To him facing multiple charges. I didn't break the law. I just broke some rules around with my owners and didn't want me to do. But I didn't break the law.
Hazards, loud noises, roadways being blocked.
When they arrived on scene, Lieutenant James May says deputies confronted Brown.
He represented himself as a homeowner. Said he was having a party. Indicated it was a graduation party. In fact, not a homeowner, not related to the homeowners, but in fact the yard guy.
Brown says this was a graduation party for his son and his son's friends.
This is what I always do something.
There's a really bad echo.
Okay, I don't know why that would be, but okay. So this is crazy. So
that mansion right there on your screen is owned by a wealthy elderly Black couple who wanted to hire another Black business to mow their lawn and do their landscaping, and because he wanted to expand their business, they hire him. And he decides that while they're out of the home, vacationing somewhere, that he would throw a large party where teenagers would be smoking weed, drinking in their backyard, the whole thing. And he thinks that these people are still going to hire him back. Oh no, the relationships is not severed. So the son of these elderly people, who of course are really embarrassed and don't want to come out, he's like, my parents are pissed. They're upset he's fired. He can't work here anymore. And the guy, the landscaper, kept saying, oh, there was no underage drinking. The cops are like, yeah, we found multiple teenagers who were intoxicated, and we also found beer bottles and liquor. They weren't smoking weed. Yeah, so we found weed residue all over the house. Oh, we didn't damage any property. The homeowner discovered that several things were stolen and or broken inside of their home. Like, why would you do this, dude? How does this help your business as a whole by throwing this party?
He was probably flown out to be in New York and was throwing baby oil on people while this is going on. That's the mentality of someone who's a landscaper at somebody's house inside. You're gonna make sure that your kid has a memory graduation party at the mansion and get the videos coming, and we going on IG and we gonna have this stuff out here. attention.
And that's where it, and that's the other thing that I don't understand. He put it on IG Live, bragging like it's his home. And then the other thing is, you didn't realize these people have neighbors. Yes, they live in a very large house. They live in a very large home. But if you're blocking the roadway to other people's mansions, most likely non-people of color, they call the police immediately. Like there is no.
Of course they are, as they should, as they should. As my roadway is blocked with tons of people, you know, it's just it's the type of stuff that just makes you say, all right. So, and any other what's before I'm just exasperated right now because I did hear about that story.
That's baby oil thing was on the what list, but you know, we've already talked. The baby oil dancing, the baby oil shimmy shake was on there.
We are in the last day. You know, when in church used to always talk about something. We are in the last days. I believe these are those days. If these ain't close to the last days, I'm trying to figure out how much worse it's gonna be. Because it's wild out in these streets. All right. What are you watching?
So we are watching Ironheart on Disney Plus. We are very, very happy with Ironheart. It's a very good show. The acting leaves a little bit to be desired, just a smidge. Storyline seems a little fumbly, just because but it's the first 3 episodes. They are trying to introduce us to a brand new character who is Riri Williams. They are trying to introduce a new villain that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They have a lot of characters with different personalities going on. It's a lot. What I will say is the AI that is her. Are you watching it?
I haven't started watching yet. I will. I haven't started watching yet. Mm-hmm.
So she reincarnates her best friend who dies. This is not like a spoiler or anything. As her AI in her suit. And her AI is annoying as all get out. Like, because it's like a black girlfriend. Like, that is not what we want AI to be. We want AI to be like a Griot, which is what she was trying to create. Was Griot, who is the Black Panther AI, or Friday from Iron Man's AI. Instead, she got the girl who do your braids and then walk out on you because she got to go get food and go get Pampers for her baby and then come back later and she got a bunch of questions. She ain't got no hair or Pampers. Like it's that kind of AI.
Well, you know, because the market for this obviously is going to be young black Gen Zs or whatever. They're trying to attract a certain demographic, and I'm cool with it. And the Marvel incels are out here in the streets trying to give it terrible ratings and all of that.
What the heck was that? How are you guys giving it a 22% a week before the show premieres, and they didn't do any advanced copies to anybody? But it's got a 22% on Rotten Tomatoes. And Rotten Tomatoes apparently doesn't delete stuff, which I didn't realize.
So are we really asking what that is? We know what that is. Come on now.
We know what it is. I think for me and Omar, who are Marvel fans, what annoys us the most is that people keep saying, like, Riri Williams is DEI. No, that character has been around for a while. I think the character came out in 2015 or 14 or something. And slowly been developing the comic books, and then she was brought to life. It wasn't like they just decided, hey, we need a black girl superhero, and they made her come to life. Ironheart's always racism in the Marvel world. And the only character that I feel like Marvel wasn't racist about was Kang the Conqueror, and rumor is that Jonathan Major is back as Kang the Conqueror.
Sure, why not? Because since they made that change, they spent all that time building up that storyline, then they dropped it like a hot potato. And, you know, from the standpoint of what he did, we none of us are still not clear on what happened there. You know, because one end anyway. So, you know, it's just we're in a wild space, and it's just like racism and misogyny like has to be every damn where. Like, my God, it's a comic book character, it's an adventure show, and there's a demographic for everything and everybody. And as someone who is raising 3 girls, I'm here for it. Young lady as the superhero, black girl as a superhero. Because on the flip side, you've got, what is her name? Miss Marvel or what's...
So there's several. There's Miss Marvel. There is also, what is her name? Sorry. Lieutenant Rambo, who's now came out in the Marvels. So there are multiple brown characters because they're setting up this new in a Marvel universe is going to be very confusing because you have the Thunderbolts, You have the new Avengers and you have the young Avengers. You have all these three Avengers who are apparently going to be existing in the same time span and universe. So this is going to be very weird because you got who I like to call N-word Bird, aka Captain America with wings, and then you he's leading a team. Then you have Riri Williams and Miss Marvel who's going to be leading another team. And then you have the Thunderbolts, who are really just rejects of life, are leading a whole other team. It's a lot Marvel has going on. So where Kang the Conqueror fits in, I do not know.
Well, he's on the timeline anyway. He can go wherever he wants to go. And so he was primarily fighting, what's the black-haired brother of...
Ant-Man.
Not Ant-Man, the one that Thor and his brother.
Loki. Loki's a tree of life now.
Loki and Kang had something going on, right? They were beefing and they weren't beefing. Weren't they in the same stuff together? It's too much to keep up with. They were. Yeah. There's some crossover.
They were not beefing and not beefing. Kang, I'm not gonna go into this with you. What else are you okay?
No, finish the thought. Finish the thought.
Okay, not Kang the Conqueror, the person who became Kang was helping Loki try to save their universe. So they were working together to save that universe, but he hasn't became Kang yet. What happened with Kang the Conqueror is that guy was jumping from universe to universe. Once he figured out how to do it, was jumping from universe to universe, and that's how he became Kang the Conqueror. Because
all I know is they got to figure out how to get people back interested in what's going on, because I think that Black Panther 3, I want to say Denzel is supposed to be in Black Panther 3 is what I've heard.
And apparently Damson Idris is supposed to be Black Panther. He ends up being Black Panther. I guess they're going to fast forward through time.
Has that been announced?
It hasn't been officially announced, but I've heard some things that Damson Idris is going to be Black Panther. But that makes sense because Ballerina Girl, that didn't make sense. So they have to find somebody where it actually makes sense. His sister didn't make sense.
Oh, Ballerina Girl. I was like, because there's a movie out, Ballerina, now, but that's on a whole different series. That's what's the name?
Yes, that's John Wick, and I can't wait to watch it. That's going to be so good. Outside of that, the other thing that that I was watching is I just finished The Bear on FX, a show about the chefs and everything is always good. And then me and Omar will be watching tomorrow night. I'm avoiding spoilers, watching Old Guard 2, which came out midnight.
Yeah, when is that? Has it already come out? Has it already come
out? Came out midnight last night.
Okay, and so Netflix, one thing, Netflix releases all the episodes, right? They don't, different networks do different things. They, like Apple Plus has this thing, and then Paramount as well, where they do the episodic, where they release 3, and then you got to wait week after week after week. So you can't really binge, but Netflix doesn't do that. So you can watch the whole Old Guard all the way through if you're having a slow Saturday.
It's a movie, not a series.
It's not? Okay, I watched Old Guard. Everything's a series nowadays, so I assumed that it was a series. So Old Guard, okay, then it's just a movie.
And it has everybody in it. I thought Uma Thurman was dead, but apparently she's alive and fine and in this movie. So there you go.
So I started, speaking of Apple Plus, we started watching a series called Smoke, and it's got Journey Smollett in it, and I don't know the white dude's name, but I think the first 2 episodes have been released, and Apple Plus has this thing. They like to draw things out a bit. Like their storytelling is pretty, it's kind of drawn out, and we watched it. I'm wondering if it's going to keep our attention. I'm trying to circle back to Mobland, because we
still not.
No, because I told you we were watching basketball. And so that's over now. And so now we're trying to find a series to get into. And Mobland, we're trying to, I'm trying to keep Trade's attention on that. It doesn't have her. It ain't got her hooked in yet. So
Mobland's amazing. It's an amazing show, but I get it. It's a lot of talking. It's a lot of talking, a lot of British accents you have to follow, and it's weird. But when it comes to Apple Plus's TV series, I agree with you, because the same thing with Severance. Everybody was like, Severance is so amazing. I'm like, Severance is dragging this and dragging it and dragging it. It's a good series.
Oh yeah, no, I never watched Severance, and that was the one supposed to be like the most expensive of them all, right?
Was it? There's nothing to it.
You look it up. They said that's one of the most expensive series that has ever been done. And so
Is that on Apple or
Severance, yeah, it's on Apple Plus, right?
no. It's most expensive series on Apple, or you mean in general?
You can look it up. All right, so other things before we get up out of here. I don't know if we ever covered this story on the show about Trey Channing. Did we ever talk about the guy, the Trey Channing, the brother from The Wire, who his house got destroyed by the tornado?
We talked about it 3 times.
Oh, we can talk about it 3 times. Anyway, updates on that. His son is out. His son is out of ICU. I bring that up only because recently, I guess Idris Elba, and this is for people who he played, I think his character was Poot, I think was his name. But from The Wire, the best TV show ever. The reason why this came to the top of my mind was because recently Idris Elba, when you mentioned Damson Idris, which made me whatever. Idris Elba was, I guess he's promoting a new movie. I guess he's got coming out with what's the wrestler turned actor, and not The Rock, the other one. The one who always looks like he's overdressed, look like he doesn't look comfortable in his suits. You know who I'm talking about. John Cena.
When you said uncomfortable in his suit, I was like, oh, I know who you're talking about.
John Cena was on the Breakfast Club recently with Idris Elba, and it came up where during the conversation and he was talking about as in Idris Elba was talking about it not being, he was surprised how much people are 20 years later really love The Wire. And here it is. Media.
Wow. I mean, I'm really like proud and surprised at how impactful The Wire has and is still. Like,
now they're saying it's the greatest show of all time.
Yes, sir.
I've seen that ranked #1 a lot.
A lot, yeah. And I'm surprised by it, if I'm really honest.
Wow.
Not to say that it's not good, but it's a very specific subject. It's about a very specific part, underbelly of American society, right? That, quite frankly, not much has changed. I hate to say it that way, but it's the truth, right? It's about societal, systemic, conditioning in the urban areas. And, you go to Baltimore, certain parts of America, not much has changed. Why is it still on our consciousness as one of the greatest shows? Is it that entertaining, or is it very, very poignant? Which is it? I don't understand.
Did you watch The Wire, John?
I have not. No, I watched 1 second of it.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's just a great show in the world, but don't worry about it.
Just whenever somebody asks if you watch WWE, you just say no. No, 1 second.
Would you want to see a new version of The Wire? Because I keep talking about bringing it to different cities. No.
No. I mean, it's like Star Wars to me, man. Like the best Star Wars was made. The other ones are just,
Did you check on Trey? Trey lost his house in a tornado.
I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah, he lost his house in a tornado. Like,
Shit.
Yeah.
Shout out Trey. I didn't know that.
So and that's what kind of made me think about Trey, and Trey's in the comments right here. But Idris Elba, man, he's huge. He's a huge star. And the fact that nobody would have known about him if it wasn't for that little show from Baltimore. But the whole thing with what's his name? What's the wrestler? What's his name? Wrestler? No, the wrestler. John Cena. John Cena was sitting there looking like, what are they talking about?
Here's a side note before we wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
Why does The Rock have suits that fit, and John Cena always looks like one of those characters from Minecraft with his suit on? He always looks like he always looks dumb in his suits. Like, why is that?
I don't. Some people don't know. Some people don't know what a good suit, how it's supposed to fit. They just don't even. It doesn't even register.
It shouldn't fit like a smock.
He's someone with the money that he has. He still buys suits off the rack. I really believe he still buys the suits off the rack.
That's what it looks like. Yeah. It looks like he is like, oh, that looks fine from Men's Warehouse. Let me put that on, because everybody else who's a wrestler, like The Rock, it's tailored, it's perfect, it's shaped to his body. It looks fantastic. But anyway.
All right, y'all. Well, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us this week. And 4th of July, what you doing? You hanging, or what's the deal?
I have got to manage a wedding. I am the catering coordinator for a wedding of 205 people between a Morehouse grad and a FAMU grad. So this should be great.
Okay.
And it's a dry wedding. People, stop doing this to your guests. Stop having dry weddings. It's not fun. Nobody likes it. It's annoying. A dry wedding on 4th of July?
Well, let's just say it'll be dry for some people. There's gonna be some flask and some styrofoam cups. It's gonna be out in the parking lot and a whole lot of that. So just expect
Like going to a Diddy party with no baby oil. And like, it's just not right.
Goodbye.